So, have you ever wondered what it's like to live in the past, especially in the 1500s? It's not that great. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Movie Emporium's movie review of Lapwing, the news film from director Philip Stevens. So, Lapwing is a story that takes place in 1555 England. It's about this small, kind of God fearing community of about 10 or 15 people who live kind of on the land, in tents and stuff like that. And we are followed this young woman who's a mute who of course is played by Hannah Douglas, who plays Patience, and she's an individual that is very kind of what you would call meek in a lot of respects. She's put down by her brother-in-law, who runs a community that's named David, who's played by Emmett Scanlan, and he is what you would call a very abusive, a very aggressive, very just God-fearing individual that kind of controls this community. Well, he is also an individual that makes money off trying to basically get these group of individuals that are Egyptian out of the country by smuggling them, but in the process, because this is a God-fearing type of world in this kind of century, the 16th century, the Egyptians are basically persecuted and are going to be executed unless they leave the country. So in the process of everything, the community is not going very well, and it becomes a story about how Patience survives this kind of world that is very against who she is and very against the type of who she is, and what it's like for individuals who really just kind of are put into place by an individual that is very scary to deal with, that is very abusive in his nature. And that's what the story is basically about, is the community, the smuggling of the Egyptian population, and kind of the world that lives in when you have a tyrant as, of course, your leader. So this is a film, like most of you, including myself, I had never heard of before until I was sent information about it, asking if I wanted to review it. It's a film that, once I watched the trailer, I was really intrigued by it because it looked very authentic and of its time and how it portrays everything. And it looked like it could be a one of those like diamond in the rough type stories where you just kind of find something cool that you've never heard of before. I mean, I've seen that many, many times as I've done, reviews for Movie Emporium, but once again, with these types of films, you're never really entirely sure what you're going to get yourself into because you don't know if it's going to be really bad, it's going to be really cheap looking. You just don't know if the story is going to work out very well. And so I took a chance. Thank you to the company that allowed me to see this movie early. And for my honest review of this movie, this is an incredibly depressing movie. It really is. It's a hard movie to watch. It's a movie that's similar to like Angela's Ashes, where it's so depressing that you almost are just kind of stopping breathing as you're watching the movie because you're just like, I don't know how much more of this I can handle. And this is only an 89-minute movie, to be fairly honest. But I have to say, and to kind of go into some positives about this movie, yes, it's depressing, but the acting is really good in this movie, to be fairly honest. This movie is engaging to watch. I think the fact that it's depressing and the fact that it's still watchable is good. I think Hannah Douglas is really good in this movie. I think Emmett Scanlan, as disgusting as he is in this movie, really does a nice job as his acting ability as that character. I hope these individuals that are in this movie who don't really have a lot of acting credits find their way into Hollywood, because this is the type of film that really shows off how actors and actresses really find themselves, in footing and getting into bigger and bigger movies. I think the director does a nice job, even though I think it goes too far sometimes in the movie. And like I say, it's really depressing. It never feels like there's a light of hope until the very end of this movie. I think it's just a movie that you're going to have a difficult time watching, but you're going to realize that the acting is top notch and does a really nice job of presenting this world, which really feels authentic and really feels real. I think the director and writer have crafted a film that is very low budget, but they have used that budget to a great extent. So you really feel this world is in 1555 England. You really feel the God-fearing nature. You really feel like the kind of what you would call abusive female situation, where you can feel like they're being kept captive in a lot of respects, and how the individual is kind of putting him down. It is said in like the notes for this film that this mirrors a lot of today's society, and you can kind of tell in the David character of how much this kind of mirrors what we are dealing with. I just found that the actors and actresses in this movie do a really nice job. I feel like the camera work is very, really nicely put together. I feel the music really helps move the movie along. I just think the problem is that this movie is just going to be for a few individuals who can handle the depressing nature of this film, because we are in a state of world now where these types of films are not going to present very well because of just how dark and disturbing and, you know, methodical they try to be, but they just go into really depths of dark territory that it makes it for an uncomfortable viewing experience. And that's just unfortunately what the director and writer are presenting, and it does become a problem. It becomes so dour and dark in this movie that I was going throughout the 89 minutes, I'm like, I don't know how much more I can take of this film. But, you know, once I kind of stuck through it and you get to the end and you see how it plays out, you kind of realize that it was actually a pretty decent movie. And I'm not trying to take away from how decent the movie is or how good the acting is. I'm just warning people watching this movie that if you've seen stuff like Angela's Ashes and you enjoyed those movies, you might enjoy this. But most people are not going to enjoy this movie for just its subject matter. And it goes to places that are uncomfortable to watch. And I give it a lot of credit for at least trying. But I just, once again, it's just not a movie I'm ever going to watch again. And that's unfortunate because I do think it is a diamond in the rough. I think it's a film that really, if it had a little lighter tone to it, I could think it could have worked, but that's not what the director and writer are going for. So in the end, to finish out this review, Lapwing is a movie that is very depressing and dour and very hard to watch. But if you want to stick through this movie, you will enjoy it for the acting alone. You'll enjoy it for the set pieces alone and the cinematography and the look and the music. It is difficult to watch, and it will make you uncomfortable as you watch it. So be aware of that. If you still want to watch this movie, it comes out on VOD I think on July 19th, or if you're watching this review of July 19th, it's out on VOD. But definitely give it a chance if you want to kind of just watch a movie with great acting, but just realize, you know, the material that you're getting yourself into. So anyways, with that said, that is going to be my take on Lapwing. Thank you so much for watching. In the comments below, if you've seen this movie, or if you've seen my review of this movie, are you interested in seeing this movie? What do you think of this movie if you've seen it? All that good stuff. Once again, thank you to the company that allowed me to see this early. But otherwise, if you like what you see on this channel, hit the subscribe button to join Movie Emporium. Hit that notification bell at the top to find what's coming next. If you like this video, awesome. Hit that like button, and as always, we'll see you guys on the next video. Peace out.